experience in Coyote Pass. I want to set him free.
So how are you going to do that?
I go and apologize.
Let me start with the moment that blew a hole straight through the Brown family's silence. It wasn't filmed, it wasn't planned, it wasn't anything Kody expected to get out. But it did. And once it leaked, it pushed Robyn into a panic she could barely hide. So picture this. Kody finally sits down with producers during a routine check. No cameras rolling yet, just lighting adjustments, tech chatter, and that awkward pre-interview lull, and out of nowhere he mutters something that not even the crew was prepared for. I owe Christine and Janelle an apology, a real one.
Come and say that I apologize.
Wow.
He didn't know a mic was already hot. He didn't know a sound tech was leaning in. He didn't know this line was about to become the match that lit the rest of the season on fire. The crew froze. One of them actually stopped mid-sip of coffee, because for years, Kody had been the king of defensive spirals, the expert at blaming everybody else for his own mess. Hearing him admit fault, even under his breath, felt like spotting a desert mirage. It didn't seem real, but everybody saw it. And here is where it gets messy. Before the producers could decide what to do with that unexpected confession, someone else got wind of it. Someone who did not want that apology getting out. Someone who has built an entire identity around being the loyal, wronged, faithful wife who stood by Kody while the others betrayed the family, Robyn. She wasn't in the room, but she might as well have been. Within an hour she cornered Kody, not yelling, not crying, not melting into one of her dramatic speeches. No, this time it was a low, sharp whisper you only use when you are terrified of being overheard. Do not say that again. But the thing about Kody is that the moment you tell him not to do something, he wants to do it even more. He started pacing the house, telling himself he was finally being honest, finally being the bigger person, even though he was mostly just rattled that he let something slip. Robyn, meanwhile, was spiraling because in her mind, that apology wasn't just a simple moment of accountability, it was the first crack in the story she had been pushing for years. A story where she was the last loyal wife standing and everyone else was the problem. If he apologized, really apologized, it meant he admitted he had wronged Christine and Janelle. It meant he admitted he had played favorites. It meant viewers and the other wives could point to this moment and say, "See, we weren't crazy." And Robyn needed that version of events buried. She had spent so long trying to hold her status above the others that the idea of Kody acknowledging his own part in the fallout terrified her. So now you have this brewing storm, Kody, suddenly having a streak of conscience, Robyn desperate to shut it down. And the producers, who knew they had something explosive even by accidental standards. But that wasn't the biggest twist. The real shock came when Kody decided the apology shouldn't just be private. He wanted to make it public on camera. And the moment he said that out loud, everything inside Robyn snapped. So here's where things shift from awkward to chaotic. After pacing around the house for hours, Kody decides he's done biting his tongue. He pulls out his phone, scrolls through notes like he's preparing for some kind of speech, and announces that he wants to apologize to Christine and Janelle on camera. Not later. Not in some staged sit-down where he gets to rehearse his lines. He wants it filmed now, and for a second, nobody reacts. The room stays quiet except for the soft clatter of someone adjusting a light stand nearby. Then, Robyn freezes. Her eyes go wide, like she's hearing the words in slow motion. "You want to what?" She asks it calmly, but there's this edge in her voice that lands like a warning. "I want to apologize," he says again, louder this time like he's trying to convince himself as much as her. "For everything, for how I handled them. For not seeing things clearly, I think it's time." And right here is the moment that shows you exactly how deep Robyn's investment runs. She shakes her head slowly, almost pleading, almost scolding. "Kody, you can't do that. Not like this. Not like this." That was the key phrase. Because she doesn't mean he shouldn't apologize. She means he shouldn't apologize unless she can control it. Because if he says the wrong thing on camera, even once, the whole family storyline shifts away from her version of events. And that version has kept her shielded for years. She steps closer to him, dropping her voice again. "You're letting guilt cloud your judgment," she says. "If you admit everything on camera, they'll twist it. They'll make you the villain. They'll make me the villain by extension." But Kody's fired up now. It's the first time he's felt the moral high ground in ages, and he wants to show it off. He starts talking about growth, responsibility, all the buzzwords he uses when he wants to sound wise. The problem is he's saying them without any filter, and Robyn hates that. She reaches for his arm, trying to pull him aside, but he brushes her off and keeps talking to the producers like he's already mid-confessional. "I wasn't fair to them," he says. "I made mistakes. I pushed them away. I should have listened." And here's the part almost no one knows. One of the producers actually asks him a simple question to clarify things for the cameras. "If you're apologizing, what exactly are you apologizing for?" That's when Robyn panics. She actually steps between Kody and the producer, hands up like she's blocking a door. Number, this isn't happening right now. He's not ready. We're not doing this." She's smiling, but it's that tight, brittle smile you give when you're trying to hide frustration in front of strangers. The producer just stares at her. Another crew member glances at the director, and Kody, clearly annoyed, takes another step toward the center of the room. "Robyn, stop," he snaps. "I need to say this." The air shifts. Everyone feels it, because Robyn doesn't just disagree with him. She feels threatened by the apology itself. She knows Christine and Janelle will hear it, she knows fans will hear it, and she knows she can't spin it once it's said out loud. If Kody owns his mistakes, then her entire narrative falls apart. And that's when she tries a different tactic. She switches from blocking the apology to making it sound like she's protecting him. "Kody, people will use your words against you," she says softly. "They always do. You think you're clearing the air, but you're just giving them more to attack us with." That was intentional. She wants to frame this as a team effort, as if she's shielding him, not silencing him. But the truth is, she's desperate to keep him quiet, because for the first time in years, Kody isn't parroting her perspective. He's speaking from guilt. Guilt she can't control, guilt she can't reshape, guilt that threatens the foundation she built. And right here is where the tension snaps, because Kody finally realizes something he hasn't admitted out loud yet. Robyn isn't trying to help him. She's trying to protect the story she needs the world to believe. And that realization hits him harder than he expects. He stops talking mid-sentence, looks at her, really looks at her. And you can see it on his face, that slow dawning recognition that maybe his apology means more to him than he realized. And it means a lot more to her than she wants anyone to know. Now the real battle begins. The silence after that moment was thick. Nobody dared move. Even the camera crew, who are used to awkward tension in this family, stayed frozen because they could feel Kody's shift. He wasn't backing down, but he also wasn't charging forward. He was stuck in that strange middle space where something finally clicks, but he hasn't decided what to do with it yet. Robyn tries again, her voice soft and careful, the way she talks when she wants him in her corner. "Kody, listen to me. This isn't the right time." But Kody's eyes narrow just slightly, not in anger, in realization. "What's the right time then?" he asks. It's such a simple question, but it exposes the whole issue. A right time never comes. A controlled environment never arrives. With Robyn, everything has to go through her first. The angle, the wording, the emotional tone. Even the way the apology lands. She doesn't admit that, of course. She just says, "When you're stable, when you're calm." As if he isn't calmer than he's been in months, a producer quietly steps in. "Kody, we can record something whenever you're ready," she says. No pressure. And that's when the next shift happens. Kody looks at the crew with this strange mix of embarrassment and determination. It's like he's aware he's making a scene, but he's also frustrated with the fact that for years he's been performing a version of himself that didn't match what he really felt. He turns back to Robyn. "You're acting like I'm about to ruin something," he says. But apologizing isn't a betrayal. Robyn stiffens. She hears that word, betrayal, and takes it personally. "Kody, that's not what I'm saying," she answers quickly. "I'm trying to keep you from being misunderstood, that's all." But that's not all, and everyone in the room knows it. The truth is, she doesn't want Christine or Janelle getting a moral win. Not a single inch of one, because if the public sees Kody take responsibility, it'll validate both women in ways Robyn isn't prepared for. She built her reputation around being the one who tried, while the others gave up. If Kody publicly admits to failing them, then suddenly her narrative doesn't hold. The idea that she was the devoted, selfless last wife standing loses all its power, and Kody senses it. He crosses his arms, lifts his chin, and says something that hits her harder than anything else so far. "Why are you so scared of me apologizing?" It's not an accusation. It's a genuine question. That's what makes it worse for her, because she can't answer it honestly. Not without admitting she's been shaping the storyline since the day she joined the family. She swallows, glances at the crew, and forces a small, tight smile. "I just want you protected," she says, protected, one of her favorite words. But Kody doesn't buy it this time. He tilts his head like he's studying her, trying to understand her angle, trying to figure out why she's treating a simple apology like a threat to her survival. And then he says it. Christine and Janelle deserve to hear it. Robyn blinks twice. It's the look she gets when she realizes she's losing control of the moment. She steps closer and lowers her voice so only he and the nearest producer can hear. "If you do this," she whispers, "you're opening the door for them to take more from you, and from us." Use, there it is again. She doesn't mean emotional peace, she doesn't mean closure, she means power. She means the fragile balance she's built, she means the influence she's held since the other wives left. She means the narrative she relies on to stay relevant. And Kody hears it. His expression hardens just enough for everyone to see the crack forming between them. "How would an apology take anything from you?" he asks. She doesn't answer, because there is no answer that won't expose what she's really protecting. The director finally steps forward, sensing the tension has reached its breaking point. "If this is something you want to do, Kody," he says gently, "we can schedule a private sit-down. You don't have to decide right now." But Kody isn't hearing him anymore. He's staring at Robyn, and something in his eyes says he's not sure he recognizes the woman in front of him at this moment. Not like this. He walks past her, heading for the back hallway, needing space. Robyn turns toward the crew with a frustrated, embarrassed smile, trying to recover the moment. "He's just emotional," she says. "Give him a minute." But the crew isn't buying it. They've seen this story play out too many times. The moment Kody disappears down the hall, Robyn's face drops, all the sweetness vanishes. What's left is the panic she couldn't hide any longer. She knows she's losing control. And worse, she knows Kody just realized it too. This is where the real fallout begins. Kody doesn't go far, just to the small green room the crew uses when they need a breather. He shuts the door behind him. Not loud enough to be dramatic, but firm enough that everyone outside hears it. The crew exchanges looks. Nobody moves. Because when Kody walks away like that, he's not cooling off. He's thinking, inside. He leans on the counter and stares into the mirror. He looks tired, older than he feels, but also strangely clear. Like he's finally seeing the debris from years of conflict settling in front of him, and he's realizing he helped create it. He murmurs to himself, almost too quiet to hear. "How did we get here?" Outside the door, Robyn hovers. She pretends she's waiting for the crew to give her a cue, but everybody knows she's really waiting on him. She wants to get to him before anyone else does, especially a producer who might encourage him to follow through on the apology. One of the sound techs watches her, pretending to adjust equipment while keeping a careful eye on her body language. She's trying to act calm, but her hand keeps tapping her phone. People who don't know her might think she's nervous, but the crew has seen this pattern before. This is what she does when she's organizing her next move. A producer quietly steps in to keep her from knocking. "Let him breathe." "Robyn," she says gently. Robyn forces a polite smile. "Of course, I'm not rushing him. I just want to be sure he's okay." But the producer isn't fooled. She's seen this dynamic for years. Whenever something threatens the narrative Robyn wants, she doesn't stop it head on, she redirects it. She slows it down. She frames it differently until Kody comes around to her version of events. Inside the room, Kody runs his hands through his hair. He's thinking about Christine, about Janelle, about years of frustration, miscommunication, pride, and stubbornness. About all the moments he knows he handled poorly, but didn't admit because he thought holding the line mattered more than admitting he was wrong. He thinks about the day Christine told him she was leaving, and he reacted like she had burned the entire family tree. He remembers the argument with Janelle on camera. The shouting, the anger. the hurt he saw in her face afterward. He exhales, long and shaky. Then he whispers something he hasn't said out loud before. I should have apologized a long time ago. That's the moment a knock comes. It's gentle, careful, scripted in tone even though it wasn't planned. Kody, it's me. Robyn. He doesn't answer right away. He's not ignoring her, he's deciding. After a moment, he opens the door just enough to stand in the frame. Robyn gives him a soft look, eyebrows raised as if she's the picture of concern. I'm worried about you. He nods slowly. I know. She steps closer, lowering her voice. You're overwhelmed. That's all. Don't let them push you into something emotional. You'll regret it. He hesitates. It's not emotional, it's overdue. Her jaw tightens for a fraction of a second. She recovers quickly, but he saw it. She wasn't expecting that answer. Kody, she says softly. I don't want you hurting yourself on camera. They'll twist whatever you say. They didn't twist anything, he replies. I did. She blinks, trying to steady her expression. You're blaming yourself for everything again, she says. You always do this when you're stressed. This isn't fair to you. But this time he doesn't absorb her words like he usually does. This time he's thinking for himself. He leans on the doorframe, arms crossed, not defensive, just grounded. I'm tired of pretending I didn't blow things up, he says. I'm tired of acting like I was the only one who saw things clearly. Robyn's voice flattens slightly, not rude, just harder. So you're going to go out there and say you were the villain? That's what you want? No, he answers. I want to say I was wrong. Her eyes flick around the hallway, checking who's within earshot. A camera operator pretends to adjust a lens, but Robyn knows they hear everything. She steps closer, lowering her voice even more. If you do this, she whispers, you're giving them a win they didn't earn. That hits him hard. He stares at her, surprised she said it out loud. A win they didn't earn. Suddenly something makes sense to him. A pattern he hadn't noticed because he was always caught in the storm. He straightens. This isn't about winning. For them it is, she replies, for Christine. For Janelle, they left, they blamed you. They painted us like villains, and now you want to reward them. He shakes his head slowly. It's not a reward to admit I was wrong. She opens her mouth to argue, but he keeps going. It's called being accountable. That word stops her. She doesn't like it. You're letting them shape the story, she says. And you're forgetting the part where they hurt you too. Kody sighs. He rubs his eyes. I know they did, but I hurt them too. The producer watching from down the hall can practically feel the shift happening. The balance between them is changing. Robyn tries one more angle. Kody, she says softly, placing a hand on his arm. You don't have to carry this alone. Let it go. Move forward with me. Focus on our family. But he gently pulls his arm away. That's the thing, he answers. I can't move forward if I'm dragging all this behind me. Robyn's smile fades. Her shoulders stiffen. This is slipping through her fingers and she knows it, Kody. She says quietly, don't do something you can't take back. He looks at her, confused. It's an apology, Robyn, not a betrayal. She swallows hard. Realizing she's losing the argument, she steps back, folding her arms as if she's cold. So, you're really doing this, he nods. Yeah, I think I am. She forces a nod, but her expression doesn't match her words. Okay, if that's what you want. But everybody in the hallway knows this isn't acceptance. This is retreat, strategic retreat, the kind she makes when she's recalibrating. As Kody walks past her, heading back toward the set, Robyn stays still, watching him, thinking, calculating, working through her next move. Because, if she couldn't stop the apology, she's going to try something else. Something quieter, something more subtle, something that shifts the narrative back in her direction. The moment Kody walks back toward the set, the whole atmosphere shifts. The crew senses it before he even reaches the main room. His posture is different. He isn't storming, he isn't sulking. He looks settled, like someone who finally stopped fighting himself, and that's exactly what worries Robyn. She stays behind in the hallway for a few seconds, giving herself time to pull her expression together. Then she follows, but not too quickly. She doesn't want anyone thinking she's chasing him. She wants to look composed, supportive, in control. But the crew isn't watching her anymore. Their attention is on Kody. He enters the room and sits down in his interview chair without waiting for direction. A couple of producers exchange surprised glances. Usually he insists on talking through every angle before filming, but now he's ready before they even bring the boom mic in position. A producer steps forward. "Kody, do you want to take a moment first or jump right in?" "I'm good," he says. "Let's start." Robyn steps in just as the crew begins adjusting lights. She gives Kody a bright, practiced smile, the kind that looks affectionate at first glance but a little strained when you study it too long. "Are you sure you're up for this?" she asks. He nods. "Yeah, I meant what I said. I'm doing it." She opens her mouth thinking she can still appeal to his emotions, but he turns his focus back to the producer. That tiny act, him choosing not to engage, hits her harder than anything else today. She isn't used to being shut out. The producer leans in. "We'll start with you reflecting on the past year. Talk naturally. Don't worry about structure yet." Kody nods again, calm and steady. Robyn moves toward a chair off to the side, but she doesn't sit. She hovers, arms folded, eyes fixed on him. She's trying to look supportive, but the tension in her shoulders gives her away. A camera operator quietly murmurs to another, "This is going to get interesting. And I need to say this clearly because I've avoided it for too long. I made mistakes with Christine and with Janelle. Big ones." There's a pause, not dramatic, just honest. "I was defensive. I was angry. I thought keeping control meant keeping the family together. I see now that I pushed people away while trying to hold on to them." Behind the cameras, two producers exchange raised eyebrows. This is the most self-aware they have ever seen him. He goes on, voice steady. "I owe both of them an apology. Not because they're perfect, not because everything was my fault, but because I didn't show up the way I should have, and it caused real damage." Robyn's expression tightens, so subtly only people who know her well would notice. The camera crew definitely notices. Kody isn't finished. "Christine deserved a better version of me than the man I became at the end. And Janelle, I didn't treat her with the respect she earned over decades." Long silence ensues. The crew doesn't cut. They let the moment breathe. Then, in the softest voice he's used all day, Kody adds, "I'm sorry, it's not rehearsed, it's not dramatic, it's simple." And somehow that makes it heavier when the producer signals cut. The room just stays quiet. Not out of discomfort, but out of surprise. No one thought he would actually go through with it. At least not like this. Kody leans back in his chair, exhaling. For the first time in a long time, he looks lighter. Robyn steps forward with a tight smile. "You did good," she says. Her voice sweet but strained at the edges. "Really good." But the compliment does not land the way she hopes. He doesn't soften. He doesn't look to her for approval. He simply nods and stands up. "We should send it to them first," he tells the producer. "Before the network uses it," Robyn reacts before she can stop herself. Why? Even if they don't, it needed to be said. Another line she wasn't expecting. Robyn opens her mouth to reply, but the producer steps in smoothly. "We'll package a rough cut and send it privately," she says. "It's respectful." Kody nods once. "Thank you." He leaves to grab a drink from the break table. Robyn stays behind, watching him with a look. The cameras weren't meant to catch. Her face hardens. Her eyes narrow. It's the exact expression she gets when something disrupts the story she's been carefully managing. A story where she and Kody are the united front, where she's the protector, where she shapes the narrative. But something changed today. Kody didn't look to her for direction. He didn't ask for her approval. He didn't let her filter his decisions. For the first time in a long time, he acted on his own emotions instead of the script she set for him. And Robyn knows that if she doesn't regain control soon, everything she's built, the image, the influence, the dynamic, begins to slip. She closes her eyes for a moment, steadying herself. Then she whispers under her breath, barely audible, "This isn't over." Because while Kody feels relieved, Robyn feels something else entirely threatened. And when she feels threatened, she doesn't fight loud. She fights quiet, the kind of quiet that changes everything one conversation at a time. Kody stays by the snack table longer than necessary. He's not hungry. He's trying to process the weight that just lifted off his shoulders. It's the first time in years that he spoke without filtering himself through fear, anger, or someone else's expectations. He didn't realize how heavy those expectations were until he let one of them go. A producer approaches casually, handing him a bottle of water. "You okay?" He nods. "Yeah, actually, yeah." The producer studies him for a moment. She's used to seeing him agitated or defensive, but now there's a quiet steadiness to him. Like the apology did something he didn't anticipate. "It was honest," she says. "People will respect that." He gives a small shrug. It wasn't about people, it was about them. Meanwhile, behind them, Robyn pretends to scroll through her phone. But she isn't checking messages, she's listening. Every word, every tone, every shift. She notices Kody didn't say us. He said them. That tiny change feels like a crack running right through the middle of everything she's been holding together. She steps forward with a bright, warm tone. "Kody, sweetheart, can we talk for a second?" He turns toward her, sipping his water. "Yeah, what's up?" She gestures toward a quieter corner of the room. They walk over. The crew subtly pretends not to watch. The moment they're out of earshot, Robyn lowers her voice. "I just want to say I'm proud of you," she begins, laying it on thick. "It took courage, thanks," he says, though he sounds distracted. She waits for the moment he usually gives her. The part where he asks if she thinks he did the right thing, the part where he seeks reassurance, but he doesn't. He just stands there, relaxed, waiting for her to continue. She doesn't like that, so she shifts gears. "You know," she says softly, "I can already imagine how they're going to react. Christine will turn this into another thing that's all about her. And Janelle, well, she'll act like this changes everything and start making demands." Kody frowns slightly, not angry, just confused. "Janelle doesn't make demands." Robyn hesitates before correcting herself. "Not demands, expectations. She'll expect more from you now, and Christine, she'll spin this." He shakes his head. "That's not what this is about." She forces a soft laugh. I know, I'm just thinking ahead. I don't want you to get hurt again." But he doesn't respond to the emotional hook the way he used to. Instead, he says, almost absent-mindedly, "It's okay if they react however they react. I'm just owning my part." Robyn smiles politely, but her fingers tighten around her phone. She tries another angle. "I just hope you don't think you owe them something bigger now, because you don't. You don't owe them anything else." He stops moving. That's the first sentence today that clearly rubs him the wrong way. "What do you mean?" he asks. Robyn smooths her hair. "I just mean, you apologized. You gave them closure. That's enough. They don't need more access to you, or more of your emotional energy. You don't need to open old wounds." He stares at her, quiet for a moment. Then he says, "It's not about access, it's about respect." Her jaw clenches. "Just a little, Kody," she says, lowering her voice further. "You've spent the last few years breaking yourself to please everyone. Please don't go back to that. Don't let them take advantage of your guilt." He shakes his head. "You're seeing this the wrong way, am I?" she asks softly. "Yes," he says simply. The word lands like a weight between them. He's never corrected her so directly. Not like this. Not without softening it. Not without immediately following it with reassurance. Her throat tightens, but she forces her expression to stay sweet. "I just don't want to lose you in all this," she whispers. He sighs. "You're not losing me." She nods quickly, almost too quickly. "Good, because I don't think I could handle seeing you go backwards." But again, he doesn't pick up the emotional cue. He's thinking, reflecting, and for the first time in a long time not thinking through her lens. Then he says something that makes her stomach drop. "I want to talk to them in person next," her voice catches. "What?" "In person," he repeats. "Both of them. Not together, separately. If they'll meet with me." Robyn's eyes widen before she can stop them. That reaction alone tells him everything he didn't notice before. He watches her carefully. "Why does that bother you?" "It doesn't," she says too fast. He raises an eyebrow. "It kind of does." "No," she insists. I think it's rushing. You just filmed an apology. Let it breathe." He shakes his head. I think I need to do this." She tries again, "Kody, what if they twist the meeting? What if you walk in good-hearted and they turn it into another attack on you?" "Then I'll handle it," he says calmly. She steps closer, but why invite that? Why put yourself through another fight? He looks her in the eye, because avoiding them didn't work. She opens her mouth, then closes it. This isn't going her way. He finishes his water and sets the bottle down. I'm doing this, Robyn. She forces a nod. Okay, if that's what you want. But it's not agreement. It's surrender with a plan behind it. As he walks back toward the main set to prepare for the next segment, Robyn stays in the corner, staring at the floor. Her expression shifts from gentle concern to something colder. She whispers to herself, I can't let this spiral. She knows exactly what happens when Kody reconnects with his ex-wives. He becomes reflective. He becomes independent. He becomes harder to influence. And she's not willing to let the dynamic she's held for years unravel over one moment of clarity. Not when she's come this far. Not when she's the last wife standing. She straightens her shoulders, checks her reflection in her phone camera, and smooths her hair. If she can't stop the apology, she'll stop what comes next. Behind. The scenes, conversations, private meetings, old bonds reawakening. She's not letting that happen. The crew resets lights for the next segment. The room buzzes with quiet movement, cables dragging across the floor, cameras shifting angles. Kody stands near one of the backdrops, while a makeup artist quickly pats down the shine on his forehead. He looks calmer than anyone has seen him in a long time. Across the room, Robyn watches him with careful eyes. She told him she supported his decision, but she didn't, not even close. And the more she watches him settle into this new steady version of himself, the more she feels something slipping out of her grip. She turns away and walks toward the hallway where the producers stand reviewing shot lists. She waits until one of them looks up. Hey, Robyn says softly, with her polite, nervous smile. Can I talk to you for a second? The producer glances at the others, then steps aside with her. Sure, what's up? Robyn lowers her voice. I think we need to be careful with the framing of what happened today. The producer raises an eyebrow. Careful how? Robyn keeps her tone warm, almost motherly. I just think if you show Kody apologizing without the full context, people will misinterpret it. The producer looks confused. He apologized. It was clear. It was emotional. It was honest. That's the story. I know, Robyn says quickly. I know. It's just you know how Christine and Janelle twist things. I don't want Kody getting attacked again. The producer tilts her head. She's polite but not buying it. We can't alter what happened. The whole point of the show is authenticity. Robyn tilts her head as if she's agreeing, even though she isn't. Of course, of course. I think you need to show his pain too, not just the apology. Because if you cut out the parts where he's struggling, the viewers will think it's all his fault. The producer gives a small shrug. Sometimes it is his fault. Robyn freezes for half a second. She wasn't expecting that. She recovers quickly, keeping her smile. Right, but he's worked so hard to hold this family together. I don't want the edit to make him look weak or guilty, that's all. The producer's voice stays even. We're not editing around guilt or innocence. We're telling the truth. Robyn's smile tightens. I understand. I just worry about him. He's vulnerable right now, which is exactly why she needs the producers on her side. Kody listens to outside voices more than he should. If they reinforce his new streak of independence, she'll lose her leverage. The producer nods politely but doesn't promise anything. We'll keep things balanced, but we're not muting his apology. That's the moment. Robyn tries one last angle. What about the part where he said he wants to meet with them? Maybe don't air that yet. It'll create chaos. The producer raises both eyebrows. Chaos is literally our job. Robyn's smile freezes. She knows she pushed too far. Thanks for listening, she says softly before walking away. Once she turns the corner, her expression drops. She's irritated. More than irritated, she feels cornered. The producers won't help her, which means she needs a different approach. She reaches into her purse and pulls out her phone. She hesitates only a moment before scrolling to a contact marked eggs. She taps call. The phone rings twice before a familiar voice answers. Robyn, she speaks in a hushed tone. Yeah, can you talk? Sure, everything okay? No, she says. Kody's planning something big. There's a long pause on the other end. What kind of something? He apologized. Robyn whispers, on camera, to Christine and Janelle. and now he wants to meet them in person. The person on the line sighs heavily. Of course he does. Robyn nods, pacing slowly. I need you to talk to him. He listens to you. You have to help me slow this down. Does he know you're calling me? No, she says. And he can't. A very deliberate pause fills the line. Robyn, this is a bad idea. She stops pacing. Please, you know what happens if he goes back to them emotionally. You know how this ends. I'm trying to protect our family. Another pause. Then, reluctantly, the person on the line says, I'll talk to him, but you need to stay out of it. If he finds out you're trying to influence this, he won't, she says quickly. Just help me. Fine, the voice replies. They hang up. Robyn exhales and slips her phone back into her purse. She adjusts her necklace and forces herself to calm down. Everything she's doing is for stability, for control. For the life she fought for, she tells herself that over and over again, back on set. Kody stands near the background wall, waiting for lights to reposition. The producer from earlier walks up to him with a small smile. You good to keep going, she asks. Yeah, he says. Let's finish this. He feels clearer, lighter, almost hopeful. He has no idea that someone in his inner circle is already moving to shut that hope down before it grows into something he can't be pulled back from. The cameras start rolling again, but Kody's mind is somewhere else. Every so often, the apology he made earlier flickers back through his thoughts. He can't explain it, but it felt like a reset he didn't know he needed, while he answers a producer's prompt about growth. Robyn stands off to the side, arms crossed, watching him closely. She already sees the shift happening. Kody's posture is different. His voice is grounded. He is not performing for anyone. He is not glancing toward her for approval before he speaks, and that, to her, is the biggest threat of all. When the segment wraps, Kody steps away from the lights and rubs his eyes. He is tired, but it is the good kind. The kind you feel after telling the truth. Robyn approaches with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Great job, honey. You looked confident. He nods. Thanks. She waits, hoping he'll bring up his apology again and let her steer the conversation. But he doesn't. Instead, he slings his jacket over his shoulder and says, I think I am going to reach out tonight, see if they'll meet. Robyn freezes for a second. Tonight. Yeah, no point in waiting. She keeps her voice calm. Maybe give it a day, Kody. Let the emotions settle. He shakes his head. I feel clear right now. I want to hold on to that. That sentence lands like a punch, clear, without her input. Robyn tries again, gently placing a hand on his arm. I just don't want you to get blindsided. I won't, he says. I know what I want to say. And he walks off before she can pull him back into her orbit. She stares after him, her jaw tight. The producers might not help her. Kody won't slow down. And if he keeps going like this, he'll rebuild connections she has worked years to close. In her mind, she sees the worst. Case scenario, Kody reconnecting with Christine emotionally. Janelle regains her influence. Old loyalties resurfacing. All of it threatens the life she has tried to protect. This can't happen. Not now. Not after everything. Robyn pulls out her phone again, hesitating over the screen. She knows she shouldn't send another message. She knows she has already crossed a line. But she presses send anyway. A single text direct. Urgent. Talk to him tonight, before he calls them. She slips her phone away and straightens. The day is fading, and the house is much quieter than normal. Kody sits at the kitchen table, staring at his phone. His thumb hovers over the screen, hesitating. He is composed, but inside there is a storm raging that no one else can see. The apology, the plan to reach out, it is all real now. No camera, no lights, no script. Just him and the decisions he needs to make. Robyn appears behind him, silent and watchful. She makes no attempt to intervene. She knows better than to try at this moment. Her plan has changed from one of controlling the moment to one of controlling the aftermath. She has been on her guard all day, weighing every word, every look, every action, waiting for him to slip. And he hasn't. She leans slightly against the doorway, her voice soft, almost conversational. Kody, are you sure you want to do this? He doesn't look up immediately. He exhales slowly, weighing her question against the clarity he has felt all day. I have to. It is overdue. It is necessary. Robyn's jaw tightens, but she keeps her voice even. Just be careful. They might not see it the way you do. He finally looks at her. Not defensively, not angrily, just honestly. I know. That's why I'm doing it in person, to make sure they hear it straight from me. For a moment, there is silence between them. She senses the shift. Kody's no longer following her narrative. He's forming his own. And that realization unnerves her more than anything else today. I just don't want this to backfire, she murmurs. He nods. Not dismissing her, but not letting her influence him either. I understand your concern, Robyn, but I can't let fear dictate this anymore. She exhales, and it is almost a whisper to herself. Then there is nothing I can do. Kody sets his phone down and stands. There's a quiet determination in the movements that's unfamiliar. Like this is not the same man who tiptoed around everyone's emotions, not the man who waited for approval before speaking. This is someone who has decided to act. She watches him, eyes narrowed, working out her next move. She knows she needs to pivot, shift, find a way to stay influential without appearing controlling. She won't admit it to herself yet, but this is the first real challenge to her control in years. Kody walks toward the door, ready to take the next step. He is leaving fear, hesitation, and old grudges behind. Robyn watches silently, a mixture of apprehension and respect veiled behind her practiced calm. Because, as Kody walks into the next chapter of his relationships, Robyn is already plotting how she will shape what comes next. One thing is for sure, neither will leave unscathed. The evening falls softly around the house, but indoors, the tension crackles like electricity. Kody is standing at the door, coat in hand, ready to make that move he has been preparing for hours. He is calm, yet there is fire behind his eyes, a combination of resolution, accountability, and the weight of years he has borne in silence. Robyn stays inside, crossing her arms, feigning casual composure. But her mind races, tallying each possible outcome. The apology, the in-person meetings, the shift in Kody's focus, they all threaten the delicate balance she has sustained for years. She cannot interfere. Outright, not without revealing her hand. So she waits, silent and patient, the way she always does when the narrative bends away from her control. Kody takes a deep breath and steps outside. The cool air brushes his face. For the first time in a long while, he feels entirely himself. There are no cameras rolling, there is no script to follow, no performance to put on. There is only the truth in its raw state and a decision to act on it. Robyn watches from the window. She doesn't move, she doesn't call out. She is realizing something she has never admitted. She may not be able to steer this. Kody's autonomy, his clarity, his choice to take responsibility, they are forces she can't contain. Inside, the house is quiet, almost empty. The tension between past and present hangs in the air. Robyn's mind races through all the possibilities. Will Christine accept the apology? Will Janelle listen without resentment? Will this change the family dynamics altogether? She doesn't know, but she knows one thing for sure. Kody's decision marks a turning point. One she can observe, influence subtly, but never fully control. Kody takes deliberate steps down the path toward his car. Each footfall a silent declaration. He is no longer living in the shadow of fear, pride, or obligation. He chooses honesty over convenience, responsibility over avoidance, and action over hesitation. Robyn finally steps back from the window, her face neutral, almost serene, but below it brews strategy. She knows this is just one chapter, one battle. The war of influence, of control, of narrative continues. Yet for now, Kody moves ahead independently and unshaken. And though the night eventually consumes all remnants of tension from the day, one thing is vividly present: family, stories, relationships, never to be the same again. Because sometimes the most dramatic shift isn't on camera. Rather, it is in those quiet choices away from the spotlight. In those moments when someone finally decides to own their truth, no matter who tries to silence it. And tonight, Kody owns his.